know my destiny.
What's up, guys? Chris with Prof CNC, and you'll notice up in the upper top corner here a new name, CNC for Newbies. New location in Miami. Prof CNC is no longer in central Pennsylvania. We are now housed in beautiful sunny Miami, Florida. We've moved. We've as you can tell, we're still doing a lot of moving. I'm trying to get my office organized and stuff like that. So we're going to be trying to come back at you. I don't know if Coffee and Cuts is going to be a daily thing like it used to be, but I'm going to try. We've had a little bit of setbacks with the medical issues. I've had some different medications and stuff like that that interact and make me sleep a lot. So I'm not as active as I used to be. But while I'm up, I'm going to try and come at you guys live with some great CNC information. Just like the old times, just like we used to, we're going to have guests on. We're going to talk about new products. We're going to talk about how to implement those products, and we're going to talk about just in general how we're going about things in the CNC industry. So I'm very excited about where we're headed with this. As I said before, this is a reboot because we've got new people on board. I now work for CNC for Newbies. The guys over there blessed me with a position. That is the Canadian CNC router company. I do tech support. I'm tech support for them. Doing some other things in the background with a lot of stuff and doing a lot of prototyping. We've got some big names coming in and getting on board with everything. So trying to make sure that I bring you guys the best information that I can from the CNC industry. So with that being said, today I wanted to let you guys know that we're going to go over recipes and how I come up with recipes for my aluminum cutting. Okay, so a lot of people ask me, where do I get my starting numbers? Some of them I get because I just know where to start. I do the feed rate calculations. I have the machinist handbook, and it has a whole bunch of formulas in there, how to calculate uh, surface feet per minute, how to calculate your speeds and feeds for certain materials. Uh, so basically, I start at the low end, and then I work my way up from there. Okay. Um, my CNC router is doing aluminum cutting. So what are my aluminum settings? Well, I go to charts on Google. I reference the Google. That's that's one of the things my daughter has been joking about is we're rocking and rolling on being old. So I referenced the Google uh, for feeds and speeds chart. So let me try and pull one of those up for you. Kev, what's up? Kevin Croft is my cousin from up in South Carolina. He's doing he's an awesome welder. He's doing some really cool stuff. He really likes his mini trucks. You guys know me coming from a mini truck background. I love that. Let's see. We're closing everything down right now, and I'm picking up this. So on Google, we're going to search speeds and feeds chart. Okay, let's see here and see if we can't pull this up. Let's share. You'll have to give me a minute. I'm still trying to remember how to do all this stuff. There we go. There we go. If we look up here in Google on speeds and feeds charts, we'll click on something like this. It'll give us the speeds and feeds for aluminum, aluminum alloys, copper, magnesium, all that stuff. Um, so I'm actually looking for one of them. Here's a speeds and feeds for Lakeshore Carbide. Here's one for Shapeoko. Um, you know, so you kind of have to find your speeds and feeds. Um, this is one. It kind of runs the gambit. General chip load. This one runs the gambit across the internet. There we go. So this is like aluminum, your stainless steels, stuff like that. Then let's see. There is one in particular that I am looking for. We'll search CNC router. The reason we want to search CNC router is because you're going to get speeds and feeds for milling machines, lathe machines, turning, and everything like that. And so here we go. Here's a chip load chart that's pretty easy to follow. It gives you a tool diameter. It gives you hardwood, softwood, plywood, MDF particle board, high pressure laminates and phenolics, aluminum acrylics, solid surface, soft plastics, hard plastics. So this gives you a range to kind of reference whenever you're machining. And in doing that, that takes into account the RPM, it takes into account the rigidity of the machine, it takes into account the number of teeth on your um, on your cutter and everything like that. Um, so that's kind of the reference that I use whenever I'm looking at stuff. Um, and then I come up with this chart here. Uh, these are all different strategies for different machines. So uh, another tool that I utilize, if I go in here and I put in proven cut, and I'm already logged in, you can actually go on proven cut. The guys over at Saunders Machine Shop uh, actually put a lot of this information on here. I highly recommend NYC CNC on YouTube to learn machining speeds and feeds, especially when it comes to milling machines. I remember when he was just doing micro machines like TAG and Shearline, but they have a bunch of really cool reference stuff. Over here, you can pick materials, you can pick specialized types of materials, cutter diameter, uh, tooling operation, machine type, machine brand, model, spindle taper, everything like this. Number of flutes, so you can really hone in on a specialized setup. So from here, like Carbide 3D Nomad in 6061 aluminum thread mill. Well, my machine's not really going to thread mill, but I would like to drill. So I just go over to the drilling operation. Uh, Proven Cut gives you a video of operation. And just so you guys are aware, I did not get sponsored by them. I am a paying member. This is just a product that I really like that I think you guys like. But they give you a video of it actually cutting and how it cuts, what you're looking for and looking at. Then you go down here and it gives you your basic machine and material and everything like that, and the tooling information, then the cutter information. Now you can go here to detailed speeds and feeds, and it'll give you a lot more information as far as like coolants, when this was published, you know, um, basically everything that you need to set up your tooling library. And when you set up your tooling library in like VCarve or Aspire or Fusion 360 or anything like that, that'll give you all the information that you need. Let's see, right here. Let's see. There we go. It'll give you all the information that you need to uh, speak on what your tooling is actually doing. So as you can see, they have adaptive, they have drilling, they have pocketing, thread milling. A lot of this is geared towards milling machines, but if you know how to do it right, you can get a really good uh, speeds and feeds chart going. And then these will be starting numbers, so you may actually hog out material um, much faster than what your recipe is. So you'll adjust your recipe based on how it's cutting at the machine. And then you go back and you scribble out and you re-reference this and you put this in a binder and you'll be able to reference that later on. I'm big on binders. You know me, trying to show men and women how to put together a tech binder. Um, you know, Coffee this morning. Got my Christmas cup from my niece, Coffee and Cuts. Kimberly, what's the coffee this morning? Oh, my wife's on a meeting. She got her headphones in. I think our coffee this morning is like Neor, uh, Folgers Neor or something like that. I've got some Deathwish coffee. I'll be probably tomorrow. So if you have a coffee recommendation, put it over in the comments. Um, don't hesitate, guys. Comment over there. I'm looking at them right now, making sure that I haven't missed anything. Um, but anyways, you could see on a Shapeoko HDM machine with a quarter-inch corncob cutter doing a slide. You can actually see that the feed per tooth is 1,000 inches or 1,000ths of an inch uh, per tooth. Okay, so this gives me all the information that I need to put into uh, VCarve. So, for example, this is the machine, this is the operation. Each operation is going to have something a little different as far as speeds and feeds because of the rigidity of the machines. Uh, this one uses mist cool. Okay, so you need to make sure you understand that these speeds and feeds are because they're clearing out the chips much faster, much easier. Okay, um, the next thing is quarter-inch corncob cutter, uh, the tool diameter, number of flutes, that affects a lot of stuff. So it gives you an aluminum uh, chip load. So in Vectric VCarve, this is going to be referenced as your chip load. Okay. Um, if you hover over these, it'll give you a millimeter also. But your feed per minute is your inches per minute or your millimeters per minute. This is in inches. In millimeters, it would be 1524. Okay. They give you your surface speed. Vectric does not reference that in their products, but it does give you an RPM. Then it gives you a radial load, which is your step over. So they're doing a full quarter-inch step over, and then they give you an axial depth of cut, which is your actual pass per depth or depth per pass in VCarve. So if you were to use this cutter and that recipe, you could start there on I know that a CNC for newbies machine is much more rigid than the machine that they've referenced. So what I'll do is I'll use that as a starting reference point. I'll start cutting some aluminum, and then in UCCNC, I'll actually up the feed rate, I'll up the spindle rate, and I'll look at the chips that are forming. And you can actually tell a lot by the chips that are forming from the aluminum as you cut it. Are you getting chips or are you getting dust? If you're getting dust, you want to take a deeper, harder cut. Maybe slow the spindle down a little. Take a deeper cut. Take a faster cut. And you play around with your recipe until you find something that works on your machine that you're happy with. For me, I'm real happy when it comes to getting a nice, not a spiraling chip. I like an actual 1/8 inch chip that just shears off. Um, right now, I'm using a Sky One CNC aluminum quarter-inch three three flute end mill. That thing is working out awesome. So let's see here. Sky One CNC aluminum. And then I'm also using a two flute um, a 1/8 inch end mill by Sky One CNC, and their flutes are shaped. The angle is shaped differently than that of a wood cutting flute. Um, so you may have a more aggressive spiral. You may have a lessened spiral. So if you want to do phenolics or acrylics or Delrin or Watan or anything like that, you're going to change your end mill based on that. And when you change your end mill based on that, you're gonna change your speeds and feeds, guys. That's the major thing. Um, when you change your speeds and feeds, uh, you always want to document that. So I tell people I have speeds and feeds for the machine, I have speeds and feeds for the cutter, I have speeds and feeds for the material. And then you put all three of those things together, and that's what gives you your recipe. Okay, so you can't just use my recipe for aluminum cutting. You have to go through and use your own recipe based on your machine, your material, and your cutter. You may have a 2 flute cutter. Um, you can use like the 1,000th chip load per flute, but you only have 2 flutes, so you have to redo that calculation to based on the 2 flutes rather than the 3 flutes. So that's going to speed up your spindle, slow down your feed rate, and lessen your depth of cut possible. If you're using a 1/4 inch versus an 1/8 inch versus a 1/2 inch, that's all going to change. So if you use a 1/2 inch shaft, uh, 3 flute 1/2 inch corncob cutter, you're going to slice through that slotting much faster than you would on a 3 flute regular upcut aluminum bit. It's just going to hog it out a lot faster, a lot better because it's breaking down that aluminum at a faster rate. Speeds and feeds things are always everybody's like, what's your speeds and feeds? Well, you can't give speeds and feeds because I'm doing 60-61 aluminum. You might be doing 30-30, cast aluminum. Um, you might do a 2000 series aluminum, which is real gummy. So is 5000 series. Um, it's all relative to what you're doing. If you're cutting uh, like maple wood, you're going to move much slower than you would in, say, pine wood. You're cutting white pine versus maple versus red oak. You're going to have three different speeds and feeds recipes based on the material, the cutter, the machine. Okay, so I always recommend to everybody. I'm actually going to pull up um, my metric here. Let's see softwares. Let's stop sharing this, and I'm going to share this screen. Okay, now I need to stop sharing that, and I need to share this. Okay, there we go. All right, now we're going to move that over here. With that being over here, I'm going to create a new file. Okay, and we go to tool library. Okay, so here you can see uh, I have a pocketing set up. This is the Skyline 1/4 inch 3 flute end mill for pocketing. These are my numbers for pocketing. Okay, this is a really nice recipe. Um, my chip load is up to 1.5 thou. Um, I'm at almost 80 inches a minute. I'm plunging at 60 inches a minute. Now, my 60 inches a minute plunge rate is because I ramp it into the pocket. So my cutter doesn't go straight down. I actually ramp it in. So it comes at an angle over a certain distance. Uh, Being that I do that, I'm able to have a faster Z cut. So what I'll do is I'll pocket out that whole deep pocket maybe I'll do like a 3/4 inch deep pocket in the aluminum. And then once I have that pocket cleared out, I'll actually go in and I'll do a contour pass, or I'll do a full depth of cut pocket to make sure that that bottom of the pocket is all the same and the sides are all the same. That way I don't have those step downs from the different layers. Um, I have a 16th of an inch cutter, two flute cutter for pocketing. I have a facing. I have a contouring. This is for 1/4 inch cutters, uh, an 1/8 inch pocket. But I have a bunch of different setups. Um, I messed up my tool library, but you can actually see right here. This is all for aluminum. And then I go over to hardwood, and that changes. And I have to put in all of my tools all over again because I made a tragic error in my uh, V carb. But as you can see, this is a spider. Um, for you guys that uh, question, like these are all of my different softwares that I use for all different stuff. And yes, I use Aspire and VCarb and Fusion and Final Master and everything like that. The reason being, every one of them has their merits at what point. Okay, so um, just try and understand that, like, as you progress through, you're going to develop recipes. Take your recipe to your machine with you while it's running, up your speeds, up your feed rate, up your spindle speed, see what it does to the cut. Okay, up one of them at a time, up the next one a little bit, and do sample cuts. You're gonna have to buy extra material, but as you do, you're gonna find that it'll be a better cut. And then write down what works and what doesn't. And in your recipe, put what machine, what cutter, what material, your your chip load, your feed rate, your RPM, your step over, your depth of cut, and whether or not you have um, coolant running on it. And if you do all of those things, you'll have a great recipe that you'll be able to build on each time. So if you're doing 60/61, you're going to have a 60/61 1/4 inch 3 flute uh, pocketing toolpath, okay, or tool library. You'll then have a uh, 3003 aluminum cutter library. Um, Both of those are aluminum, but they're two very different kinds of aluminum. The chemistry of the aluminum is very different. The manufacturing process is very different. With wood, you're going to have, the species of wood. Is it a hardwood? Is it a softwood? Um, is it wet or is it dry? A wet wood is going to gum up a lot more in a pocket. So that's all stuff that you have to be fully aware of. Um, and document. Every time I tell you guys something, it's always document. Um, as we get into this a little bit better, we're going to be talking about different spindle motors, different VFD options, different torque curves. All of that needs documented over time. And as you guys start getting better at using your machines and stuff like that, you'll develop a recipe input, um, and print off a whole bunch of sheets and start documenting it, and then scribble it out or white out or get another sheet and document whatever changes you make that are good changes. Um, you may have a note section down at the bottom that says, hey, whatever you do, 3003 series, don't forget to miss coolant because it's a cast aluminum plate. Um, it will gum up and it will actually weld to the cutter edge on the end of it. So you've got to document that stuff. And once you do that, you guys will be able to write up a really good recipe. You'll be able to share that with people that have your machine, your spindle, that are using that material, and that will be a good starting point for this. For me, I know myself, Billy Brown. Um, uh, let's see, there are a few other guys using CNC for newbies machines that really push the boundaries. Bob Canny, um, he he uses his CNC for newbies pretty hard. But we've gone through the process of making sure that the machine runs perfect. We know what to change on the machine to make it run faster. So we know our sending programs, we know our firmware settings, everything like that, and we can play around with a lot of stuff. So um, my rack and pinion machine is running at 2,000 inches a minute on my profile. Um, so if I wrap it somewhere, I'm telling it to move 2,000 inches a minute. Now, does it get up to that point? When it's doing a straight line long enough, it can get up to that speed. I play around with my accelerations, so typically it's not going to move that fast, but it is moving faster than I would say 99% of other people's machines. Um, I have a high speed new carb. I have a lead screw new carb. I have a rack and pinion servo plasma cutter. I have a hybrid stepper CNC lathe, stuff like that. And all of these machines need their own recipes for their own setup for the material that you're cutting that day. So for every one of those machines, I have a binder and it has the recipes. And these are all different recipes. This is my slotting recipe, my boring recipe, my 2D contour, um, my spot drilling, stuff like that. So I just go through and I write everything down and I just keep going over and over and over until I get that perfect setup. So I am. So with that being said, I don't see any other uh, comments coming in. Kevin, I appreciate your comment. That means a lot that people are watching. We've had some uptake in viewership. I'm not sure where it came from. And then we had some drop offs. So for my first reboot broadcast, uh, we're hovering at 3 viewers. Not as good as what it used to be, but I've been gone for like 4 months. Um, let's see, I think I quit doing my dailies about 5 months ago. So now we're coming back at it, and we're gonna try to get everything rebooted. And I'm gonna start working on the bookshelf behind me, um, and I'm gonna be cutting out a lot of wood pieces, and I'm gonna make that look like a Gothic cathedral. Um, and behind each door of the Gothic cathedral is going to be my bookshelves. The opening of the Gothic cathedral is where my futon's going to be. Um, I got all kinds of reboot that I have to do. I have to do construction on the openings of my office, the stairway of my office. I'm going to be redoing a lot of that stuff, and we'll just keep going from there. So as you guys come on the journey with me, you'll see some changes along the way. Uh, right now, I went from, you guys know, we had a big industrial facility. We closed down the industrial facilities, and we went to our home shop in Pennsylvania. That was roughly about 3,000 square feet. In Miami, we downgraded the shop size even more. I'm actually operating everything uh, out of a one-car garage, and I'm building machines on tilt tables and stuff like that, and just in general trying to get things squared away. So as we do this, I'm going to, as my health progresses, I will do the broadcast as I can. Um, if I can, great. If I can't, don't be upset. But I'm going to try and put up every morning um, when I wake up. Um, I'm going to try and set an alarm, and uh, I'm going to try and do a daily broadcast. Um, I'm thinking coffee and cuts in the morning, and then maybe uh, I don't know, something at night, and go from there. Bless you, baby. But Kevin comes through and he's saying he's learned some knowledgeable info through these videos. That's awesome, man. That's what this is all about. You know, I want you guys to have a good grasp on things. Uh, I want you to know what you're paying for when you pay somebody. I want you to know what you're buying when you buy something. Um, I want you to know what questions to ask people and stuff like this. This is a sounding board for everybody to kind of get together, get information out there, and understand um, to a degree of what we're looking at in the machining industry, as spectators, as machinists, as just in general as fun. All right, so I'm gonna try. I want to try and get a guy on here at some point, and I'll go live in all the groups on my StreamYard and give you guys an opportunity to ask questions to him if he will agree to. So, he would be a great asset to talk to. So I'm going to work on that. That's going to be one I'm going to plaster everywhere whenever we have that special guest, if I can ever get it. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to go take a nap, and then I'm going to do some machining on my own. All right? Have a good one, guys. Later.